Hello, Canada. Welcome back to another edition of the Canadian Citizen Journal. I'm your host, alias Tagai. Well, we got a few things we're going to go over today. Bit of a gong show here in Canada, but nothing new. With our new post-national state, nothing should surprise you. We're going to start off with a bust that happened just across the border in the States, move into Carney's disastrous presser he had in Alberta. Still waiting for Premier Danielle Smith to release what she said. Got a little bit of inside information. I know a lot of people around Edmonton. Got a few emails saying it was a bit of a gong show, and he just kind of shrugged off the whole idea of the unity issue, the separation. Like I said, once I get some solid information on that, something I can show you, I will definitely do it. Then we're going to move on to just the insanity of what has become Canada. I'm sure a lot of you will be surprised. I'm just going to start showing a lot more of this because it happens every day, especially in the main cities in central Canada. Let's start with the bust across the border.
An Indian man, Jaskaran Singh from Gujarat, has been found guilty of drug smuggling in the United States. He was caught near US-Canada border in eastern Washington while carrying nearly 200 pounds of MDMA, a drug worth over $7.8 million. So on April 29, 2023, US Border Patrol agents spotted 3 men crossing the border from Canada into the US. They were carrying backpacks and a suitcase. Soon after, a Honda minivan was seen leaving the area. Singh was driving the van. When border agents stopped him and searched the entire van, they found out the backpacks and the suitcases filled with MDMA pills. Officials also found a map on his phone and messages giving him instructions on where to go and when to pick up the drugs. After that, the 3 men who crossed into the US escaped back to Canada before they could be caught. Investigators found out that Singh flew from California to Washington and rented the Honda minivan in Seattle before carrying out the smuggling operation. He was working for a major international drug trafficking gang, which had planned the smuggling route in a remote area just to avoid being caught. Now, in March 2025, Singh was found guilty of possessing and distributing the drugs. He could face up to 20 years in prison and might also be deported back to India after serving his sentence. His final punishment will be decided on June 25, 2025. This is one of the biggest MDMA drug bursts in Eastern Washington history. The US officials said that such illegal drug smuggling operations harm American communities. They praised border agents for catching Singh and stopping such dangerous drugs from spreading. If we talk about Indians, then many Indians move to the US for education and jobs.
Now, tell me again how Canada isn't an issue. This is just more evidence. We are mass producers and distributors of the drug. And you can tell because you can see it on our streets every day. But for the most part, we're major shippers, manufacturers, and distributors of it. More and more proof of this is coming out all the time, even though the mainstream likes to only say, well, there was only 40 kilograms. Bullshit. All of it is bullshit. The States knows, the world knows, but the media bubble, the propaganda circle, doesn't let Canadians know. Let's move on to our glorious dictator and some of the questions he got. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. It's just a waste of time. It's all verbatim. It's, like I like to say, verbal diarrhea. But check out the audacity of this guy. The ignorance, and he's just an asshole. He's a rich snob.
Prime Minister, thanks for taking my question, and welcome to Edmonton. And James from the Western Standard. You recently...
Sorry about the microphone.
Yeah, no problem. I'm a pretty tall guy. You have not been elected in a federal election yet, and you recently flew to Europe on government wide-body jet at the expense of at least $500,000. So the question I have for you today, and maybe I'll say this before I ask the question, these people around you all paid for that flight. and you've not been elected yet. So will you commit to refunding these taxpayers for that flight?
Well, it's an interesting question, way of framing it. Look, I'm going to go back to, I'm going to allude to the question that was asked previously by Mr. Staples from the Journal, and the situation that we're in as a country, which is we are in an economic crisis that's brought on, sorry, I'm going to answer the question, brought on by the tariffs that have been put on Canada, actual and prospective. One of the challenges...
The economic crisis was brought on by former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and you were his advisor at the time.
I think you would find...
These people did not create that problem.
I certainly... hey, nobody in Canada created that problem. Nobody in Canada created that problem.
Nobody in Canada created the housing problem. Nobody in Canada spent more money in the last 10 years than all prime ministers combined. Nobody in Canada is at fault for legalizing drugs, hard drugs, and killing 40-some thousand Canadians. Nobody in Canada is responsible for the largest homeless rate ever seen in our country's history. More homeless than in the Depression, people. Nobody has seen the suicide rates was responsible for the suicide rates under this last 10 years, the highest ever seen in our nation's history. I can go on and on and on. All this happened before Trump was even elected. None of this is Trump's fault. None of it. Listen to the bullshit.
The U.S. government has decided to put tariffs on all of its closest allies. All of its closest allies.
All of them. I said this from day one. No media was saying it. From day one. The whole world was going to get it. The United States needs to amp up their military might. And I'll explain it once again. If the states ever did go to war, their weakest link is their arms shipment. And the enemy knows every major battle was won by cutting off either food, supplies, or military arms to whoever they were fighting. Trump isn't stupid. He needs it for his military. That has had no effect on the Canadian economy. There has been minuscule jobs lost. Yes, there are some people who have been laid off. Preemptive. But guess what? Those companies did it because they are in economic strife. They are hurting already from 10 years of the Liberal government.
Wouldn't for a moment suggest that anyone in Canada is the cause of this. What our responsibility is to take action to react to a different world that we're in. And part of the way we do that is we build out new partnerships, new opportunities, including opportunities. And I'm going to give you a specific one, and then I don't know if you have one more follow-up, but I'll give you a specific example. It goes to my previous answer, something I also discussed with the Premier this morning, which is Canada has many advantages, and one of them is in critical metals and minerals. One of the issues is how are we going to develop the trade routes and the trade corridors rapidly in order to export?
All of the Liberal MPs that are in right now, all of them destroyed our mining sector. Companies fled. The largest gold mine just left here not a month and a half ago. Closed shop, done. 3 or 4 different zinc, aluminum, and different mineral plants that were trying to get going, they gave up. After 7 years or 5 years of fighting to try just to get the paperwork done to try and get a permit, not even a shovel in the ground, they gave up. They said, not worth it. They were thinking about coming back. There was like 40 huge companies that were waiting on this election. They were actually thinking of coming back because it looked like the Conservatives were going to win in a landslide. All of those bids have been removed. They are not coming back. Now they're not even going to try until they know that if the Conservatives get a majority government, they will come back. If the Conservatives get a minority government, they won't come back. They won't. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Any business owner will tell you that. I'll tell you that. It's not worth it.
Those critical metals and minerals. And who are our clients for that? Who are our customers? Do we only have one customer to the south of us? The customer that's attacking us? That doesn't respect the trade agreements that they signed? Or should we develop new customers? New customers in Europe. What's required, if I may, what's required for those new customers is to build out trade corridors and infrastructure, including what I referenced in my previous answer and discussed with the Premier, is the potential to go north, go to new deepwater ports. Churchill is an example, Gray's Point in Nunavut as another.
Now, the media, just the other day, I tried to find the clip and I couldn't find it, had said that when Carney was up there and he was talking about this whole expansion of the military, how it was a good idea, and how they were the indigenous were mad at Pierre because Pierre didn't discuss it with the indigenous. This is the biasm that we have in our media. Really. They both went out and threw ideas supported by the communities they were in, the indigenous communities they were in, and the media slurs one while promoting the other. Welcome to propaganda.
Another, and that creates a whole new set of opportunities for Albertans as a whole, for people across the country, for these hardworking people around me and those like them in the trades. And that's what my job is.
I'll take that as a no then.
No, you'll take that as a very comprehensive answer to your question.
Did he answer the question? Did he answer the question? Listen to this pompous ass. What a disgrace. He's not a Canadian. He's not a Canadian by any means. By any means. You're talking to the media. At least try and be nice. I can be a sarcastic bitch. Why? Because I'm on this is my show. Yeah, I don't treat people rude unless literally they are being incredibly rude to me. When you're in a position like that, you got to be as diplomatic as possible. And this guy is a prick. Look at this smug smile. What an ass. We're going to skip ahead. There's a whole bunch of French, and for some reason, with this one, they didn't even ask him in English. Normally, Pierre Poilievre would go, and now in English, and he would say the question was, and this is my answer. Pierre does it at every single presser. Nothing.
Why is it important for you to build up a Liberal presence in Edmonton and Alberta, and what impact do you think this might have on an upcoming election?
Look at Sohi. The simple kid in the back. This guy's like Trudeau. He's got an IQ. I don't know. I know Trudeau's IQ is 86. This guy, I don't know, but he's definitely not as smart as Trudeau. And if Trudeau's 86, what's this guy? Jesus, Murphy.
Well, I'm Prime Minister of all of Canada, and the government serves all.
He's the Prime Minister of all of Canada. Yeah, sure you are, buddy. Yeah, sure you are.
Canada, and Edmonton's a hugely important part, obviously, of our country. So it's not tied to electoral timing. It's not tied to any specifics. This is, but something it is tied to is a very real need, which is around housing, and also a very real success story. And I'm a firm believer that we learn from our mistakes, but we also learn from success. And there has been tremendous.
Okay, by the way, with the housing thing, there's a couple news outlets that are talking about how they found documents, they're going over them, that the entire Liberal Party, Trudeau and all the Liberals, and this is Carney included because he was involved with it, was telling Canada that they're going to build X amount of houses, and I guess a whole bunch of leaked parliamentarian papers came out saying every single person who was on that advisory committee said that's an impossibility, it'll never happen, and started listing off all of the things that was stopping it, and every one of the obstacles were legislation put in by the Liberal government. We'd be lucky to see the 250,000 houses built this year. So when you get to provinces like this, Alberta, where you've got like the best premier going, yeah, you're gonna get houses built because they will find a way. Because she's a tough cookie. She don't mess around, and she's a straight shooter. It's God. This guy's so full of shit.
To success, you think of the mayor will correct me because he knows all the figures, but I see it as about a 16% increase year on year, right, in construction here in housing construction.
In Alberta, he's taking credit for Daniel Smith's. You can't make this stuff up, people. I'm laughing so hard because there's so many memes on all of the different platforms with pictures of him, how he invented the wheel. And he actually told Galileo when he did this, and it's hilarious. This guy's so full of shit. Oh my God.
If we had that across the country, we would be on track for what the country needs. So
the country needs Daniel Smith for Prime Minister.
can we learn from what Edmonton is doing right? And how do we emulate it? How do we reinforce it here? So that's part of the reason I'm here. Again, I'm going to go back to what I said to the previous answer, if I may, which is I'm a practical person. I like to see how things work and then correct mistakes, such as the consumer carbon tax, and reinforce things that are working, such as the Housing Accelerator Fund. And I'll hand back.
And it's the Housing Accelerator Fund is what's the failure. And he's also announced the exact same thing that Paulie has been saying for months. He stole another one earlier, how he's going to take the GST off of homes, new home builds, but only for first-time home buyers, right? Squeezed out 99% of the people who are purchasing it. That's always in the fine print. And houses that have been renovated for first-time home buyers, which again takes out 99% of the people who can't buy a home. This guy is just living off. He's living off conservative promises and conservative actions. He is a total flop.
I was just kind of going off that. I mean, how are you hoping, as we're looking further now into election, that you can build up the Liberal Party in Alberta?
Well, look, I'm an Albertan. I grew up here, and Albertans are practical people, and they judge people on results and what they expect for those results. And the Liberal Party has a ways to go here, but we have very strong candidates. We'll have even more strong candidates, and we're offering a way of positive change for the country. And, this is a positive province. It's a province that knows how to get things done, create new industries.
See, he's living off of what Daniel Smith has done.
At the core of what I've said from day one in Laurier Heights, literally at the rink where I learned how to skate. You may not think I still know how to skate watching me with the Oilers, but, it didn't fall down at least. That is, it's time to build. And that's what we're offering Albertans and Canadians.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll do last question. Dernière question, s'il vous plaît.
Travis McEwen, CBC News. Will you be calling an election this weekend?
Fair question. The first person who will know whether the recommendation to call an election, it will be the Governor General as for convention. What's clear, Travis, is that in this time of crisis is that the government needs a strong and clear mandate. We're offering a positive vision for the country, a vision of action. You can see the action that's happened. I haven't been Prime Minister for a week yet, and you can see what we've done thus far.
What have you done? What have you done? He has done nothing. Zilch. Zero. Nada. He hasn't done a thing except for waste. At a minimum, over $1 million in flying around campaigning on your tax dollars.
Look, I've only been in for less than a week, and look what I've done.
Yeah, Jesus.
We can do even more with that strong and clear mandate to move forward for the country, for all Canadians.
Last question.
What do you think of Mayor Sohi as a potential Liberal candidate to run in Edmonton in an upcoming federal election?
Now, this is a setup question. I love this. And I've got some proof to show you when this clip is done.
I think the following. I'm a great admirer of Mayor Sohi, and
He's a great admirer. Remember that.
he served Edmonton and Canada nobly as a member of Parliament.
Nobly.
He served Edmonton, and part of the reason I'm here, it's a testament to what this city has done in building housing, and not just housing, but affordable housing. You look at, I understand that there are challenges in housing in Edmonton as well. But you look at the affordability metrics and others here relative to elsewhere in the country, it's very impressive what's been done. Understands how to work both with the private sector, which is critical, such as the Rohit Group, and with government, with different layers of government. So I'm a big admirer of his, and I guess I know one other thing about him is that he's a public servant, and he will continue to serve Albertans, Edmontonians, Albertans, and I hope Canadians as well. Thanks very much.
Okay, the last bit is in French. Okay, so I'm only going to show you, well, first I'm going to talk about the reason he lost his seat is because he took a picture of him in his car behind a train hauling oil tankers. And he posted on X something along the lines of, I was trying to find the picture, I couldn't find it, but something along the lines of, this is crazy, you live in a civilized city, and you can't get to work on time because of trains. And the train was hauling oil tankers in the city. He canceled a whole bunch of pipelines in. And that was the end of him. Done. Now, this scandal, this is huge. And nobody ever talks about this. This is Saskatchewan, well, as far as I know, the largest, dollar for dollar scandal that's ever happened in Saskatchewan. Okay, so it's the Canadian federal corruption in the historic P3 Regina bypass project in Saskatchewan. There's a guy who collected thousands of documents. He even got recordings. The corruption is super deep. It's who it named. It's so deep. Politicians fled for the hills. I think it was like $3 billion or something. Where is it here? $2 billion. It's gone. Taxpayer money in Saskatchewan. Listen to this, okay? You can't make this shit up, man. And you gotta remember, Carney admires this guy, and he's a good public servant, somebody to look up to. So this is the type of politicians that Carney aspires to be. Okay. A significant focus into the Regina bypass scandal is the alleged involvement of Amarjeet Sohi, a former federal Liberal minister. Accusations center around Sohi's purported facilitation of White Rock Ventures Incorporated, a trucking company linked to his brother and election donors. Now, this is how he got elected. He had all of these donations. There was a lot of fishy stuff going in. For some reason, it was never investigated. Who is in power? Oh, right, the Liberals. And the company and employees that were giving him all the money, well, fictitious employees, was his brother. So big ad campaign, big money. He gets elected. Okay. So Bob Ray, which is the whistleblower in this case, provides a critical account of Sohi's alleged accounts. He came to the trucking company from Ottawa. He did not list his travel and expense it to the federal government. Ray claims suggesting that Sohi's visits were deliberately kept off the records. The reason that he came is because he is personally involved in the loot of taxpayers' money. further intensifying the allegations. Ray points out potential nepotism and favoritism in the project. Amarjit Sohi did not disclose that he was in Regina on February 21st of 2017 at a trucker meeting that was attended by only Sikh truckers from Edmonton and a few from Regina that are affiliated with the Edmonton trucking operation. Where did he run for mayor? Edmonton. How did he get elected? They're looking into it, but for some reason it just got squashed. Again. Funny. They ended up finding people. The names didn't really match, but the people said, yep, that was me. That was me. I did it. Anyways. So, where am I here? Regina that are, right. This 21st trucker meeting that was attended only by Sikh truckers from Edmonton and a few from Regina that are affiliated with this Edmonton trucking operation, he alleges. White Rock Ventures Incorporated, a company based in Edmonton. Now, I'm going to look into the project that's getting built right now. You want to bet whether or not White Rock is involved in that? And what did he say? I'm going to rewind it and I'm going to write the name down of the name of the company, a company that Carney had mentioned. And I'm going to see who owns that one too. Because anytime a liberal's involved, just follow the money. Just follow the money. They're all corrupt. This entire new liberal, I mean, every party's had corruption in it, but this new liberal regime is the most corrupt political party on the face of the planet. So White Rock Company, blah, 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 is based in Edmonton, is brought into the spotlight as a key player in this narrative. His Middle Brothers Trucking Company and other affiliates all came from Edmonton, Alberta, to help the French giant from France remove this crown aggregate from the Ministry of Saskatchewan gravel pit quickly to the Regina Bypass Project. Ray explains, highlighting the rapid and irregular extraction of resources. We have somebody that is completely uneducated, can barely speak broken English, overseeing a multi-billion-dollar project. Now, I told you, this guy is dumber than a bag of fucking nails. I'm talking, this guy is an idiot. So when Amarjit Sohi became the infrastructure minister, his head was full of dollar signs. All he wanted to do was make projects compromised by using his authority and his power as the infrastructure minister of Canada. Now, the Panama Papers comes in. I found some links, and this is when I was dealing with the corruption through Carney and his links to Brookfield, which opened up, like I said, I've got so much shit I'm finding, people. Like, the corruption is, Canada is so corrupt. Honestly, we should almost just wipe every single political party off the face of the map and start from fresh. I don't know how to do it, but theoretically what we got to do is we got to start with a massive majority win with Poilievre, wipe off all the other parties, make law to get rid of provincial parties holding federal seats. That's got to end. Get rid of the bloc. They got to go. They got to go. And then literally start from there, and then completely rebuild. The Liberals completely rebuild. Well, I'm not a socialist. The NDP, as far as I'm concerned, should never be rebuilt. But I mean, we've got Bernier, who's a conservative. We need to have the Liberals. We could use a couple more central parties. We need to rebuild it all. But we have to set laws in to stop this from happening. This goes on and on. I put all of my homework down below. If you want to go ahead and read, go ahead. I've got this. This is just another file and then today when I was building this, I was like, holy shit, I know who they're talking about. I read, go into the Panama Papers that I was dealing with. Son of a gun. They're all linked. Oh my God, evil begets evil. I'm telling you, they're all linked. The corruption is so deep. It is so deep. It's crazy. This is crazy. Okay, we're going to move on to Trudeau's post-national state. This is Canada, people. This is Canada. What I'm going to show you happens every night. I go by at least 3 to 4 of these every day. And usually my videos, because I try to give you as much information as possible, I haven't got room to throw these in. But seeing as how I'm breaking time on this one, I'm going to run through a few of these really quick. And I'm only going to pick out kind of the good ones because for some reason this week was really hot. And it could be because Israel just blew the shit out of 5 of the top Hamas leaders right in Gaza. They all snuck in during the ceasefire, and they were lining up what they normally do, friendlies, women and children, and setting areas for them to be able to haul munitions to Hamas fighters. And Israel waited until everybody was there. So it's sad because, yes, there were some women and children that died in this. Hamas uses them. They set up their guns in schools. They're on top of hospitals. I mean, look at the hospitals. Every hospital in Palestine had tunnels and corridors underneath them where they were storing weapons. Every single hospital. In fact, 2 of the doctors that CBC and CTV, so CTV had one doctor, CBC had another doctor on there, that were crying at the beginning of this. Oh, they're gonna, the hospitals, and they're saying this and that's not true. There is footage of them in there by the cameras that the hospitals have. After the Israeli soldiers took it over, they were showing the footage, and those doctors were in there helping Hamas. Yeah, these guys are evil. So anyways, this little protest is because they're mad. They're saying there was no bad people were in there. There was no bad people in there. 5 of the leaders vaporized. Good riddance. It's sad that the kids, the women and children were in there. There wasn't a lot of them. I guess there's 30, 35, still a bad thing. But like I said, I had 2 friends. The one of them showed me the scars on his back, on what they do to children, to brainwash them, to beat the fear and hate and division into them, to create the monsters that is Hamas. They went back to try and get their families out. This is 12 years ago, 14 years ago. They were both very, I get emotional. They were both really good guys. They became good friends of mine in a short period of time. They taught me lots about what's going on in Palestine. They never were seen again. And later I found the footage on, I think it was CNN or someone had a clip. And I knew geographically where they were. And they were all slaughtered by Hamas. All of them. His entire family. And they blamed Israel. And then later I found out it was Hamas. Anyways, this is a protest going on. They are marching towards, what was the name of it? They are marching towards, I can't remember the name of the synagogue, the Bayat synagogue. So you just watch it. It's embarrassing. Now, I'm waiting for more footage. I'm curious on what happened, but as far as I know, from what I was reading on a lot of these, the posts and threads on there, it seemed like there was very, very limited police presence, which seems to be a huge thing, especially in these cities. And now this one, terrorist sympathizers have blocked the roads on Preston Square in Ottawa and seem to have been directing traffic without the Ottawa police assistance. They got the whole bypass blocked off. Mute that because that's crap. But this is the propaganda they're running. They literally cut this overpass off. This is Canada, people. Welcome to the post-national state. Now you're gonna love this one, and this is what I showed the video on yesterday. How a lady was really pissed. She had enough. This little elderly lady, because she couldn't drive her car. She was forced to park way down the road. She had to walk, and even then she had to walk. She had to walk through these violent protesters, saying some pretty nasty things to her, and the police were protecting them. This is what they do. It's sick. This is the agenda pushed down from the federal government. Remember, they appoint the tops. Just remember that. So the whole prerogative is pushed from the top down. And we know the police have been infiltrated. So of our borders, they've all been infiltrated. We've been seeing more and more of that documentation. I'm constantly showing you guys that. Go through pretty much every one of my episodes. I'm always showing there's new. And again, I got more emails to go through. There's lots of stuff happening every day. And mainstream, nothing. Not a word. Check this out. So an ambulance has to take a detour via Yorkville Ave as Toronto police block Yonge Street due to a demonstration at the intersection of Bloor and Yonge. I've been there. This used to be kind of the cool place to go. Now you got an ambulance with an injured person. I wonder if that person made it there alive. If that person has any injury sustained because of a time issue, every single one of those protesters should be charged. And if that person dies, they should be charged with murder. Not manslaughter, murder. Because they don't have permission to block that intersection. This is Canada, people. This is Canada. Welcome to your post-national state. So, yeah, all of you people right now who are thinking about voting Liberal, think really hard. You may not be seeing this because the media isn't showing it to you. And like I said, these are just today. Just today. And I'm not done. And like I said, I'm going to try and keep this video kind of short. There's lots more. It just keeps going. Now, why is it that remember throughout all of this media, especially in the last 12, 14 years, the media has been really hard on this saying right-wing extremism is the scariest threat today to our society. I have not seen a KKK in Canada in my entire life. Never. I have never seen a right-wing activist in my entire life. Where I grew up, when I was young, I grew up like it was Little Italy, Chinatown. It was the center of all multi. I never seen a right-wing. Never. Till this day, never. But boy, when the lefties get mad, all of this green climate hysteria, buy cars, you're going to kill the gasoline and we're going to go electric and Elon is a hero. And then all of a sudden when Elon goes and gives everybody a reality check and starts exposing all of the corruption and finding all of the money and hundreds of millions of dollars were funneled to Canadian universities to help teach anti-conservatism. All of a sudden, the left lose it. Burning Tesla vehicles all over the place. Violence in the streets. Literally, like pushing people. All hell's breaking loose. I can't show you some of the bad ones, but I can show you ones like this. So I'm just going to show you this one, because this is actually quite funny. This, you can't make, these people are so stupid, man. This must be a Liberal card holder. This is the U.S. Embassy in Ottawa.
Your last generation Canada, a non-violent civil resistance.
Non-violent. Last generation non-violent. I'm sorry, but you just completely denigrated and insulted everybody your age. I don't know how old she is. I don't really give a shit. She's a total waste of skin. This is, like, really? But this is because the media pushes fear, hate, and division. Propaganda. This is what they want. The problem is people like me who are showing as many people as possible. So please like, share, and subscribe and get the word out, because there's nothing funnier, literally, than watching the left eat themselves. Now, down in the States, this is growing faster. And of course, there's a lot more damage, but it's the centrists and the conservatives movement is growing at a faster rate. The media keeps saying, oh, Trump's numbers. He goes up like a percentage to 2% every day in his popularity. Not kidding you. He's right now, he's the most favored leader percentage-wise in like 90 some years, if you can imagine. And what are we doing in Canada? We're going to re-elect the same party that created all of the shit we're in right now because of propaganda media. You can't make this shit up, man. Welcome to Socialism 101. Well, guys, I'm going to call that an episode. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, you've been watching the Canadian Citizen Journal. I'm Alias Tagai. Stay informed.